Can I touch it? Gross!
Hello people of the internet, Spaz here. Welcome to the Legendary Seed Old One's Army Guide for each class. Now this is the arena I've built. The bottom platform is made of asphalt for the best running speed possible. And as you can see, there's some traps here. You got your spear traps on the top, flame traps at the bottom, and then 2 rows of flame traps on the side, painted of course. Then you got this pressure plate that only enemies can step on. I believe that's the yellow pressure plate. Then you got that, the heart statue. They're wired up to these timers. Very nice. And as you can see here, some wiring going on. The blue wire is for the heartland statues. They're wired up to this 1/4 second timer. And then the traps on the bottom are wired up to the other 1/4 second timer and the red wire. You got this green wire here connected to the pressure plate. So when the enemies walk out of the portal, they'll step on the pressure plate and get burned. We also have these banners. They do, in fact, do something to the enemies. It's just very slight and not nearly as much as a regular banner would to a regular Terraria enemy. But they do give a slight advantage, so just grind the event a few times to kill some of the basic enemies, and you can have that there. I will put this world link in the description for anybody who wants to use it. I did have to use some sentries to complete the event. I'm using the Ethereum mana, so it's part of the event, is what I kind of considered it like, so it's not really breaking the single class thing in my opinion. You can get these summons after Golem is defeated, I believe, because it's tier 3, and this is a tier 3 guide. But to grind the earlier stages, I didn't even have a problem, even with like melee, killing the earlier stages with just melee gear. The lightning aura staff is 60 defender medals, but if you can get through stage 6, you get 40, and I was able to do that with just a Terrablade as a melee character. The lightning aura staff is going to be the one that I use only, pretty much. I do use the explosive trap staff, which is also 60 defender medals, which again, you can do the same thing. For melee, I want you to use the Terrablade. Disregard the other weapons, you don't need to use them. The explosive trap staff and the lightning aura staff, I have in my inventory. I only use the lightning aura staff. A burger or any other food buff, iron skin, regen, swiftness, wrath, rage, sake, endurance, inferno, life force, thorns, shine, titan, night owl, potions, and ichor flasks. For armor, I want you to use beetle armor with the damage chestplate, putrid scent, fire gauntlet, mechanical glove, destroyer emblem, avenger emblem, warrior emblem, and celestial shell. All reforged to menacing. Also have menacing master ninja gear on hand, because you will need to switch to that in the final phase. Use the cosmic car key as a mount, because you will also need that for the final phase. So for waves 1 through 6, it's not very eventful. They will get harder progressively, of course, as the event goes on, but you're just going to need to use the Terrablade to just shred everything coming out of the portal. Collect the Ethereum mana, just place them at the edge of each pillar, and they'll actually space them out very close together. I did not intend for that to happen. I just built the pillars this distance apart because they look cool, but that just happened to be the perfect distance, so very good to know. For the final phase, you're going to want to turn on your heart lanterns and the extra trappage, and you're going to want to switch to the Master Ninja gear. Start flying around and just dodge Betsy. The Terrorblade will do very good against Betsy. But you're also going to want to stay on the ground some and kill some of the Ethereum Wyverns and other things that are coming, because the crystal needs to survive until Betsy dies. But the asphalt will make it very easy to get away from Betsy, and then you can get side to side killing enemies fast. In the final phase, I don't think ogres or anything spawn. I think it's just Betsy and some of the lower tier enemies. For rangers, I want you to use the snowman cannon, nothing else. The lightning aura staff is again the only one I used, but you can feel free to use the other one. The explosive trap staff, use a burger or any other food buff. Iron skin, regen, swiftness, wrath, rage, archery, which you don't need archery potions because the snowman cannon is not a bow, so just disregard that. Endurance potions, inferno potions, life force potions, thorns potions, shine potions, and night owl potions. Use mini nukes as your ammo. Yes, mini nukes. Mini nuke 1, the one that doesn't destroy blocks. Use Shroomite armor with the rocket helmet. The helmets have been buffed back to 15% damage. Use the Putrid Scent, Sniper Scope, Recon Scope, Destroyer Emblem, Avenger Emblem, Ranger Emblem, and Celestial Shell, are Forged to Menacing, and remember to have that Menacing Master Ninja gear there to swap out in Wave 7. Using the Celestial Shell, you're going to want it to be nighttime for the duration of the event to be a werewolf. For waves 1 through 6, you're just going to want to use the snowman cannon to absolutely shred everything, because that's what it does. The waves will get progressively harder, and you will have to kind of stay near the crystal a little bit more. Collect the Ethereum mana, and place the lightning aura staff things across the arena, and you can actually place them around the pillars I built, right behind each pillar, because apparently that's the perfect distance apart for them to be. I did not intend that to be like that, but it is. For Wave 7, switch to your Master Ninja gear. Make sure your heart statues and the extra trappage on the side is on. You're going to want to have the Cosmic Car Key equipped so you can fly around and dodge Betsy. And you're going to need to stay on the ground though, and that's why you need Master Ninja gear. You're going to have to focus on Betsy some though, so you're going to still have to fly around probably a couple times. For Mage, I want you to use the Night Glow. If you're on the Legendary Seed, the Zenith Seed, use the Aqua Scepter. If you're not, then just don't use this weapon. The Clinger Staff, and the Rainbow Gun, because all of these are very good weapons. And of course, since I'm on the Zenith Seed, I do use the Aqua Scepter most of the time because it's super overpowered. But the Night Glow is very good too. You'll see me use that occasionally throughout the event, and you can see it does very similar overpowered damage. So if you're not on the Legendary Seed and you're just on like For the Worthy, just use that. The Lightning Aura Staff, I use throughout the fight just to block enemies and do more damage. It just helps. Have mana potions and healing potions, both greater healing and mana potions, a burger or any other food buff, iron skin, regen, swiftness, wrath, rage, magic power, mana regeneration, endurance, inferno, life force, thorns, shine, and night owl potions. For armor, I want you to use Spectre armor, obviously. With the damage hood, have the healing hood ready to switch out in your inventory, or just in the vanity slot. Use the Putrid Scent, Mana Cloak, Celestial Emblem, Destroyer Emblem, Avenger Emblem, Sorcerer Emblem, and Celestial Shell, all reforged to Menacing, and have Menacing Master Ninja Gear ready to swap out, so you can use that in Wave 7. Have a flying mount, like the Cosmic Car Key. For waves 1 through 6, you're just going to want to use your weapons and just decimate everyone. Mage is probably one of the easiest classes to do this with, because you have so many options. Collect Ethereal mana and place the Lightning Aura Staffs across your arena. You can actually place them across the pillars, like right behind each pillar, you can place one of them. And that actually makes them like the perfect distance apart from each other, like about the closest they can get before it won't let you place anymore. I did not intend it to be like that, it just happened like that. The Clinger Staff, you can actually place it in front of one of the portals and it'll completely pretty much just block that portal. That's very good. So you definitely need to do that. For final wave, wave 7, switch to your Master Ninja Gear, make sure your heart statues and the extra trappage is on next to the portals, and you're going to want to start flying and just start hitting Betsy. That's all you really need to do. Her attacks aren't super horrible to dodge, but she packs a mad punch. You're going to want to go on the ground pretty quickly though, because enemies are going to attack the crystal, and if that dies, you lose. So kill everything, just below to your enemies, because there's not any ogres or anything in Wave 7. So just dash back and forth across the asphalt. You'll move real fast, and you'll kill things pretty fast with the overpowered weapons you have.
Oh, fuck. I am the danger.
For Summoner, use the Kaleidoscope and the Xenostaff. The Xenostaff is super good because it never misses. You can use the Lightning Aura Staff, or not, because Summoner is just so good for this event, you may not even need it. But I used it because it just helps. You can use the Explosive Trap Staff. I think I used it like once as a Summoner, but it's not really the most useful thing. Have Greater Healing Potions, a Burger, or any other food buff, Iron Skin, Regen, Swiftness, Wrath, Rage, Summoning Potions, Endurance, Inferno, Life Force, Thorns, Shine, and Night Owl Potions, along with Ichor Flasks. For armor, use Spooky Armor. Now, I could have used one of the summoning armors from the Tavern Keep, and I was going to, but I realized that I valued having more regular minions than the Sentries. Use the Hercules Beetle, Necromantic Scroll, Papyrus Scarab, Destroyer Emblem, Avenger Emblem, Summoner Emblem, and Celestial Shell, all reforged to Menacing. For the Celestial Shell, make sure it's nighttime when you start the event like I do, so you get the Werewolf buff. Have Menacing Master Ninja Gear also available to swap out for Wave 7 so you can fight Betsy. For waves 1 through 6, just destroy everything in your path with your overpowered weapons and collect the Ethereum mana. Use this Ethereum mana to, of course, place the Lightning Aura Staff across the arena. And if you use this world, which is in the description, you can actually see that I place the things behind. You can actually place the Lightning Aura things like right behind each pillar, and they'll actually be like the perfect distance apart from each other, about the closest they can get before the game doesn't let you place them any closer. And I did not intend that to be that way, it just happened that way. For wave 7, I want you to switch to your Master Ninja gear, turn on your heart statues if they're not already on, and make sure the extra trappage is also on, next to the portals. And then, of course, just start flying around and kill Betsy. Go to the ground, because there's going to be enemies coming. And they're going to be lower tier enemies, because in the 7th wave, there's not really any ogres or anything like that. There's just kind of goblins and Ethereum wyverns and stuff like that. So just kill them, they'll die super fast with all the sentries you placed at this point, and your overpowered clay, your scope, and all that. Xeno staff. She'll die pretty quick, and the Xeno staff literally never misses, so it should be good.